Hello, everyone. I'm Dylan Miles, and today I have the pleasure of having Taylor Brown with me, founder and CEO of Chandler Charcuterie. Taylor, it's great to have you here and be speaking to you again today. How are you
Oh,
doing?
very good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So I'm out of Chicago, and where are you out of right now?
We're in the Metro Detroit area.
Awesome. So honestly, I'll just kick it right over to you. Tell us about yourself. Tell us about the journey in starting the company, and yeah, a little bit about how we got to this point right now.
Sure. Yep. So I'm Taylor. I have worked in the restaurant industry my entire life. And like many people, found myself unemployed in the middle of the pandemic. If you asked kindergarten Taylor what she was going to be when she grew up, she would have said something in the food industry. I love the whole hosting restaurant industry. I just really didn't want to be tied to like a 9 to 5, being stuck away from home, away from my husband, away from my daughter, working for someone else. And so during 2020, I was really missing hosting. It's one of my favorite things to do is just have people over for dinner and create beautiful food. And with all this free time, I was like, how can I scratch this itch? How can I kind of create something new in our little community? And so I started making these small kind of date night box charcuterie boards that I just posted on Facebook, honestly, and just kind of trying to see if it would stick, right? And it did. And I was very blessed. And we got a ton of orders in such a short amount of time. And so I really was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna see what's gonna happen, right? And so within like 36 hours, I was like, let's do business cards. Let's build a website. Let's post on all the socials and just see how far we can make this go. And here I am 6 years later. We turned it into like a luxury catering company. We only specialize in charcuterie, large scale grazing tables, and corporate gifting. And so it's been so fun. Something that started from my kitchen table has kind of blown into a pretty well known product in the Metro Detroit area.
No, I love it, and I love. I know we talked a little bit about this, but just the beginning, and I think hearing it again here, not everyone has that quick of a reaction towards a moment like that. In terms of you had that great positive feedback from the work you've done in your craft there, and you just jumped right into it. What do you think made you do that? Maybe you're wired that way. Maybe it was your experiences before, but I don't know if you could talk more about that because I don't think that's entirely common for people who want to start something or even are playing with some passions of theirs and go from there. So yeah, please tell me more about that.
Sure. I think most entrepreneurs are wired a little bit the same, right? Like we all kind of have that edge to us, like almost like a for me personally, I'm not afraid to fail. I think of every failure as a learning experience. I have done so many things wrong in like what I do, right? Because you don't know what's going to work until you try it, especially when you're solo. So I've been very blessed to have a huge community around me, which has been amazing. I have a lot of support. So I, kind of picked a lot of people's ears. I tried a lot of things, saw what worked, saw what didn't, listened like openly to feedback, which was huge. I'm not afraid of constructive criticism. And I just kept trying over and over and over again until I found, what worked and what was sustainable. Like if I look back at what I was creating in 2020 now, I'm like, oh my gosh, why did someone buy that? Right. But now we've been in business for so long and what we create is perfected at this point, right? But you have to start somewhere and you can't be afraid to start. Like, what is the worst thing that's going to happen? In my opinion, the worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to look back in 10 years and wish that you took that opportunity. I didn't want to be like that. I would much rather have looked back and be like, oh, well, I tried something. It didn't work. Let's go in a different direction, right? So it's just, there's nothing more satisfying than seeing your vision come to life. And no one's going to make that happen other than you.
That's well said, and just knowing that you're in the position to do it and not being afraid to fail. I mean, all the things that you nailed is part of it. So seems like it is a little hardwired, but it also sounds like through trials and tribulations and experience in your life before that, you were able to react quicker to something like that. Bringing it now, I mean, not everyone would hear about a company like this, right? And I mean, people should check out the website. And when I first saw it and first met you, this is a craft. It really is a craft. So tell us more about that, really honing in on this craft,
Sure.
being able to kind of scale it. And yeah, I think people aren't familiar with maybe like a service or like a product like this. So talking more about some of the things that you offer and then just how you've really perfected that.
Yeah, sure. So like I mentioned earlier, we started just doing individual date night charcuterie boxes. For anybody that doesn't know what charcuterie is, that's kind of like a really pretty cheese and meat platter. But to your point, yeah, it's an art. Like it's we call it edible art. I mean, it is we take care of everything from sourcing to design to delivery. Like we are a full-fledged company that like you order on our website, it's one click and it's delivered at your door the next day. So once we started these little date night boxes, we really quickly kind of got a lot of inquiries for larger boxes. And so that's when we decided to kind of go all in and be like, let's see how far we can take this. Right. And so originally we started just doing deliveries in Metro Detroit that you could place the order on our website. And we have a handful of offerings. I think we have 11 different options. So something that serves, 3 to 5 people is our smallest one now, up until 25 people. And those are all delivered on like handcrafted wooden boards. We also sell like charcuterie cups, and we're launching a charcuterie wall this year, which is gonna be really fun. And then we got into the grazing table space, which is my personal favorite of what I do because it is like the largest charcuterie board you can possibly imagine. So those are really popular for like weddings, bridal showers, and things like that. And then that very quickly scaled into the corporate scene. So a few years ago, what really kind of took my company off is a very large mortgage firm in the area reached out to us and wanted to do a themed Halloween grazing table for 750 people. And I was like, I'm a one woman show, right? But they inquired like, "Are you capable of doing this?" And I was like, "Absolutely, yes," because you fake it till you make it, right? And it was such an opportunity for growth that I was like, "I cannot turn this down," right? And I'm such a perfectionist, and they gave us enough lead time that I was like, "Yes, all right, I'm gonna hire a couple people." I had so much family support, which was amazing. I was like, let's just go all in and, let's create this. And that really got our name out there, which was so amazing. And it really gave me so much confidence to do what I do on a super grand scale, which is truly the only way to like make a sustainable business out of this when you are a local company, if that makes sense. Like we don't ship. We're limited to, nor do I want to get into shipping. But we're limited to a zip code, right? Or like Oakland Township is kind of where we service. And so, um, that really helped us kind of scale and perfect my craft and see what works and what doesn't on a very grand scale. And we've been very blessed. It's been very successful.
I love that. And yeah, the faking it till you make it, and you're just like, all right, I'm gonna figure this out. But it's impressive, right, for a company like this. I mean, I was looking, I was like, wow, they've been around for like 6 years now. Like that's not a small feat. There's small businesses. I feel like to get past that 5 year mark, especially, is just something has to be working. So taking a hold of a market, and I think I was like was thinking this is such a category of one. I really just don't know other people doing it, and obviously you're keep on stepping up your craft, which is super cool to see. What would be a great lesson that might have surprised you about running a business that you've learned in your 6 years thus
Yeah.
far?
It's funny. I think a lot of entrepreneurs like have a kind of a stick about working for someone else, right? Like you I was really bad at working for someone else. Like someone would tell me what to do and I'd be like, no. And like, I don't know why I'm wired that way, but I am. But then I will give myself a massive to-do list and like happily do it because it's for myself and I know where the energy is going, right? But there's like a saying that's like, yeah, like quit your 9 to 5, stop working 40 hours a week and work 180 hours a week and work for yourself, right? So I think that I was severely uneducated about the amount of work that goes behind running a company because your goal for this company is to become a brand, right? Like I want to be the most well-known luxury catering company in my area. And there's so much back end work that goes into running a company. Like if you asked me in 2020 what SEO is, I'd be like, I'm sorry, what? And so the fact that you have to wear so many hats, that unfortunately it's not just perfecting your craft in the sense that like you get to do what you love, of course, but everything that you need to learn behind it to make it successful, to get people to know who you are, what you do. It's a lot of work. It's amazing to learn those things because I feel very capable now. I feel like I can learn any platform, but I definitely would have told myself to hire some help a long time ago. I feel like you learn that these things are important when something comes up and it's like, "Oh, man, if I had this in place many years ago, I would be this big," you know? And so it kind of feels like a game of catch up pretty often.
Yeah, I imagine it's a balance of it's great to learn all of those skills and just because you are the only one, right? I know it sounds like you have a lot of you've had support, from family and other people, but at the end of the day, it's you driving the company forward. But also as you try and scale, and I imagine, making it sustainable and growing sustainably, which, I'll get into more. It's like you have to build a team, and that could be really hard.
Mhm.
Hand things off a little bit, which I imagine could be really tough, but it's the way to grow. So in that, I mean, we could talk more about the challenges. What would be something that you would have told yourself maybe a year ago or longer about, you know what, maybe hand this off or something that's been really challenging that you think you could have done earlier to fix to get a little bit ahead?
Yeah, for sure. I think the main thing that I would have and probably still could benefit from would be getting a mentor, like learning from someone who has been in, it doesn't need to be the exact type. I mean, I'm in a very hyper specific category of the food
Mm,
industry, right? But like someone that has scaled something from the beginning to where they want it to be that I could learn from because there's always something that comes up, right? Like, we're launching a corporate catering platform, which is something that we've always done corporate catering, and I'm like, why am I not advertising this, right? Like, if you look at kind of what we do online, it looks like we're very specialty event based, um, because that's what works well is on socials, and it looks like we kind of do door to door stuff, which we do, but we are a very broad company. We cover a lot, and with that has come like packaging issues. I wish that I had had someone to be like, "You should look here, you should try this." There's always something that comes up that I feel like someone that has walked this path before me could guide me instead of me wasting months of time trialing and erroring things. And it's hard when you own your own business because no one cares about it more than you. You can't pay someone enough to care about it as much as you. And there's a level of perfectionism involved that, like, I definitely need to learn to kind of loosen the reins on that because I could probably pay someone or learn from someone who's just like, outsource, your marketing, right? That I'm spending so much time on because I want it to look a certain way, because I want my brand to come across because I'm a human, right? Like people know my face. I want people to know that they're purchasing products from me. And it's hard to let someone else come in and take that over. But when you're spread so thin and you're not giving any part of your business like your all, that's where you need to kind of delegate, and that's the hardest part for me.
yeah, understandably so. Have you in search for a mentor, maybe, you're probably just busy enough to you're just trying to keep things going. So I don't know if actively searching, but I wonder, are there any places that you have searched or are thinking about in terms of that? Because a partnership, as you're kind of like alluding to, is different than maybe just having someone do a couple tasks for you. That's more of like this contract work, but to have a mentor or even a partnership with someone, that's a little different. That, to me, at least, that makes it seem more long term. It's visualizing things directionally, not just what am I going to do this week and this month to accomplish these tasks. So I'm not sure if you have any ideas of like where to look.
No, and I'm open to any if you have any, because it is something that I feel like just came to, like, fruition, like, a couple months ago. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I need it." Like, because I keep questioning myself, right? Like, "Is this the right move? Is this what I should be doing?" And questioning people around me that don't know anything about my industry, and I value feedback from everyone because it kind of makes you think outside the box. Having someone, like I said, that has kind of like walked this exact path before, a very similar path that can kind of I'm going to make a million mistakes, right? But if they're able to kind of gear me away from some of the big ones, like I will welcome that. But to your note, like have I actively sought out a mentor? No. Am I it's one of my 2026 goals is to find someone that really resonates with me in whatever form that looks like, right? Like is it a mentor? Is it a long-term partnership? I don't know what that will look like, but it's something that I'm going to actively be working on in the next few months because I think it would benefit me, like, not only professionally, but personally, like, very significantly.
Yeah. And mentor, even just from my point of view, can be such a heavy word. It could almost seem like one way. And that's rarely the case. Of course, there's very charitable people
Mhm.
who they still get out of, they still get value out of a relationship. And they might be, a few years ahead in terms of experience or they've been on the journey before, but they usually get something out of it.
Mhm.
There's some goodwill there. But it feels like a big word, like, you're not gonna go up like, "Hey, can you be my mentor?" It's a little weird in a way, but
Yes.
I've thought about finding peers and what a competitive group, but very friendly group of peers in a network, in a community. Some mixture of that can be so beneficial, and at least what I'm hearing too is like a sounding board, at the very least, a sounding board of people you trust, not just anyone, but you respect them for their
Sure.
work and their character.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's hard, but it's definitely something that I feel like pays dividends over time. And at the very
Yeah.
least, it's something cool to grow amongst a group. So, yeah, I'll have to think, and we could talk more about that another time too. And if anyone, you know, hears this too, just to come forward because it's definitely really a great thing.
Yeah, and, that's another great thing about social media is that, um, obviously not the only charcuterie company out there. I feel like when I started my company, I hit something that went viral in the time, and that definitely played a part of our success, but, it also kind of gave me access to a community of people that are doing this in their cities, right? And that's super helpful. And to kind of watch other people are doing from afar and a lot of their vulnerability, right? Like, hey, I did this. I wouldn't recommend, and kind of watch people trial and error things because it's just you can learn so much from other people and it's so fun to see the way there's so many ways to do what I do. And I love watching other people do their craft. I mean, it's so interesting to see like you think like yeah, anyone can make a charcuterie board and it's like there's so much more behind that and it's so enticing to me to watch other people kind of perfect their craft over the years and it's interesting.
Yeah. What's the single biggest challenge, when we think about where you want to be, let's just say at the end of this year, maybe even further out, in terms of scaling the operations and just acquiring clients and just really sustainably growing that business?
Yeah. Um, I think that's a great question. As I kind of venture into perfecting this corporate catering side of my business, which is the most sustainable side of my business because I'm so niche that charcuterie tends to be a gifted product, if that makes sense. So people aren't ordering me on DoorDash, right? Like I'm not a restaurant. I'm not pushing out orders every second of every day. But I think there's space for that in regards to catering to corporate clients. And that's like generating consistent revenue year long, not seasonal, right? Like not holiday based, not event based. And I think that I'm gonna have to put this is something that I haven't done a lot of because I've been so blessed to be like a word of mouth product. We have a ton of recurrent I should see what our recurrent client percentage is. It's insane. But I think I need to start putting some money behind like ads and outreach and, really perfecting like my local SEO, posting on LinkedIn, things like that that I haven't really done, right? Like I'm in all the Facebook groups. I'm pretty prominent on socials, but I have not really ventured that far into the corporate side of like how are these clients going to find me because the office manager at so and so office is not going to see I mean maybe she'll see me from her personal Instagram, right? but I need to kind of cater to a a different demographic that I haven't done before, and I don't know the best way to do that yet. So this, I'm sure, is going to be a year of trial and error, right? Like, where is my ad spend best delegated to? Is it, organic LinkedIn posts? I mean, who knows? I'm not going to know until honestly 2 years and I'm looking back and I'm like, well, that didn't work, or this works great, you know. So I think I'm really entering a space of this is going to be a year of hopefully significant growth, but I'm sure a lot of learning is gonna be happening in the next couple months.
Mhm. No, I think that's great to really continue growing and scaling out. In terms of the capacity and just operationally, you're obviously someone who's gonna say yes and get it done because, like, you just gotta do it sometimes. But how do you see that side growing? And I ask more about this too because I think it can be insightful for people who maybe not are starting the exact same thing, but starting some sort of company and operation that's similar. It might be in the food and beverage industry where a lot of times you are starting from your apartment or your house
Mhm.
and like you said, you're getting the ingredients, you're doing a lot of it, if not literally every single thing. And I think getting leads is one thing and hopefully, your craft continues to improve. But then there's this operational expansion and just I think hearing more about that in that journey from you is really insightful for people because that's not something that's necessarily talked about a lot.
Yeah. And that was something that was very intimidating to me from the beginning. It's easy to start something out of your kitchen, and like that's where everybody starts because you have to the food industry is rough, right? And you have to know, is this gonna stick or not? And then, you quickly realize after a couple weeks, like, okay, hopefully you realize after a couple of weeks, like, do you want this to be sustainable? Because then you need to be like legit, right? Like the food industry is something that you need to follow the guidelines of like your county. If you want to be successful, right? If you want corporate clients and huge wedding venues and things to trust you, right? Because they're all going to need your licensing, your insurance. Like these are not steps that you can just kick under the rug, especially if you want to scale. So, we learned that pretty quickly and it's not fun, right? Like to learn this side of the business, but it's necessary. And so like one securing like a commissary kitchen space is what we work out of. We don't need a storefront at this point as much as like, do I want a storefront? Sure. Do I want to staff a storefront? And do I think that's like fiscally the right decision for us? Absolutely not. Like we're a caterer. And so, in regards to kind of scaling, we've outgrown 2 kitchen spaces at this point, and I try when I can to work 6 steps ahead, right? So, we're currently in the process of moving to a larger kitchen space where we're the only people in this space, so it's primarily ours, right? Like it's a private kitchen where we're bringing in a ridiculous amount of equipment to be able to excuse me, I can't think of the word, but to be able to scale in this space, right? Like I don't want to get an order that's like I don't have the capacity to do this, right? Like yes, I do, and I will make it work. But I think when you work really hard on something and you pray on it and you do all the things, right? Like you learn SEO, you learn how to run ads, you're consistent in socials, you join all the groups, you go door to door, you send emails, whatever it is you have to do. One of those things are going to stick. One of those things are going to work. You're not going to do all this work and you're going to fail. It's I think companies that fail like don't have someone either they don't have the right guidance, they didn't try long enough. Like I think people really are easily discouraged. I'm not one of those people. I'm like, try to get me down. But I think setting yourself up for success, like ensuring that you've done all the correct steps. So when one of these things works, you're ready for it is the key to success. Because if, these things work and you get this huge order and you get this huge client and then you flop on your delivery because you weren't ready, like, that's a surefire way to put you out of business. So I think taking all the steps that you need to kind of get yourself ready for the success that you want so bad is worth all the time and money behind it.
Oh, that's well said. And yeah, preparation is so key, right? And I think the persistence that you're mentioning and just embodying is really so key too, right? I know someone was saying just like, I won, right? Because I just didn't quit. I just stayed in it long enough. And obviously, you have to do a lot of other things, but it's it's a simple but like understated part of all of this. So I think that's really great to mention. And looking ahead, what is the ultimate vision for the company and could be in the next year even? I know it's really hard to project out that far, but just thinking about your personal role in it, maybe you could look at it from that perspective and just also the business's impact. I think I love this because it's partially like just so community focused. And I like that when everyone's trying to grab everything in the entire world, I think people forget about what they have just around them. And so I think you're a great example of that, and something that you can do for years. So yeah, just hearing more about that vision for yourself and just the business's impact.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I am very much a long game person. So, in the past year and a half or the past year, I had my first daughter. And I think that is kind of something that really, like, I've always been passionate about my business, but I feel like I've never been more passionate than now because, like, I can visualize my future in the light that it's really going to be in. And as much as I love my company and working for myself, like, I do feel like at this point in my life, I have a job, not a company, right? Because my business won't survive without me at this point. That's not sustainable. It's not sustainable in regards to how far I want to grow this company. And so my 5-year game plan obviously is to become like I'd like to become the most well-known corporate gifting platform in Oakland County, Metro Detroit, which is a very broad reach. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Metro Detroit, but home of the automotive industry, and there are so many corporate clients in the area that we're in. So I think there's room to grow, right? Like nothing's too far out of reach in my opinion. And so being able to bring on like to get more clients, consistent revenue and bring on more people so that I can focus on the back end of things and the parts of this business that like I really love, like the grand scale events where I can really kind of show what we do in its best light is where I want to get to, where I will get to in the next 5 years so that I'm able to step away and it's still going to run itself successfully. Another really fun thing about the kitchen space that we just secured is that it also opened the door for us to be a part of like a give back food program, which is amazing. It's going to completely eliminate waste on our behalf and all of our food will be going to people in need, like servicing our county, which is just amazing. You always want to be a part of something bigger than yourself. And so having the like being able to give back to our community is just it's so special. It's so important. And it's it's just I think every business owner's goal in some aspect is that you want to have a mission, right? And the mission isn't just to be like financially successful, it's to do something larger than yourself.
I love that. No, I didn't know about that, but I think that's great. And just, yeah, I mean, you said it perfectly. Couldn't say it any better than that. In this entrepreneurial journey, what would be one piece of advice you'd offer to maybe someone similar to yourself in that position, starting something? Maybe they have a very passionate hobby or they know they have a lot of strengths and capability, but they're trying to find their way to really start creating something for themselves.
Yeah.
Where yeah, what would you say to them?
I think I would just say like there's room for you in this space of entrepreneurship. Like I think social media can be amazing in the sense that it opens a lot of doors, but it can also be discouraging because you'll see so many people doing what you're doing and the way they're portraying it is that they're doing it very successfully, right? And that they own this space, right? And there are billions of people out there that will buy what you're doing, that will purchase your skill, right? And just perfect what you do. Do it really well. You'll find your market. Like, and don't give up. Like nothing is out of reach. I mean, your wildest dreams can come true. Like no one's going to give it to you other than you. It's worth all the time. It's worth learning all these new skills. You're very capable. Like if I can do it, anybody can do it. Like I am not the brightest woman in the room, but I will not give up. And I think if you have that mentality, then you can accomplish anything.
I think that's a great place to start wrapping up there. I couldn't imagine a higher note, and I think that's beautifully said. So before we end this, where can people find you? And maybe a call out to people that you want to find you in general. So I know you have your website, socials, everything, if you want to mention that here.
Yep. So my company's called Chandler Charcuterie. That's our Instagram handle, our Facebook, and our website as well. And if you are located in the Metro Detroit area and you host anything from parties, weddings, corporate events, I'm your girl. So give us a call.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much again. And it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
same. Thanks for having me.
Of course.